Okay, what's going on, you guys? Roadkill here. Today I just wanted to talk about a character I've been wanting in this game for almost a year straight, and that's Ghost Rider, specifically Johnny Blaze, just because I'm not entirely too big of a fan of. Really, I even forget the guy, name of the guy with the motor, or not the motorcycle, the car. I'm just not a fan of number one his design, and I just don't like the car, and he just looks skinny, and I just don't like. He doesn't look nearly as manly as Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider does to me. Anyways, point is, Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. I've been wanting in this game for a year straight, and I'm probably a bit late to this, but ever since they showed off the Avengers 1 million BC or whatever it was, like on that wall, and they showed the ancient Ghost Rider and stuff like that. A lot of people were under the impression that NetEase wouldn't be able to have Ghost Rider in this game at all because of just I'm not entirely too sure, but something about Chinese laws regarding skulls. But number one, NetEase has recently shown Ghost Rider within the game, so I am hopeful that they can make him a character. And number two, I've heard a lot of just what's the word, solutions that other people come up with, being like if it's impossible to have a character in the game like that's like a human skull, then you could just have the fire completely covering his face, which I think is a good, like the fire that comes up from his face, just like completely covering it, and the like inside the fire, it kind of like makes up the shape of a skull. So it's just weird technicality loops and stuff like that, loopholes and stuff like that. But yeah, regardless, I just wanted to talk about just Ghost Rider as like a character for this game. I've heard a lot of different ideas for what his kit could be and what role he should be, and all that other stuff. But I personally don't like very many of the ideas. There was this one guy who was like, "Oh, what if he was kind of like similar to Hulk, but instead of Johnny Blaze being kind of like useless like Bruce Banner, he's got like his Hellfire shotgun or something like that, and for his ultimate or for like his like other form, it's Ghost Rider." And I don't like Ghost Rider for Johnny Blaze. I don't, and I don't want to play as Johnny Blaze. I think Ghost Rider is way cooler in like every single way. But yeah, this video I just wanted to, what's the word, just talk about what I wanted as far as a move set goes, as far as his abilities, main moves, and like passive and ultimate and all that stuff. This is really a pretty quick video, and I'm gonna probably just show some pictures to go along with what I'm saying, so you guys get an idea of what I got in mind. But without all that huge intro out of the way, we can get to it. So the first thing, I guess the simplest thing to do would be like what role he's in. A lot of people are saying he'll be a DPS. I completely disagree. I'm not going to be like too much of a comic purist while making this video, but I guess like I still mention it. But within like the comics, he's just always just like super tanky dude. Whenever like someone destroys him, he can just reform because some magic stuff going on. And he can like grow in size and all this. He never seemed to be like too like fragile the way they want to portray DPS in this game. So I really don't think that fits. But I guess you could say Iron Man really isn't fragile at all either. But anyways. I think he should be a tank in the same vein that Captain America is a tank, in the same vein that Venom's a tank. Off tanks, and he doesn't need to have a shield, not even like Cap or Angela, but he just needs to, or in the same way that Thor's a tank, exactly like Thor actually. But anyways, so yeah, I foresee him in the tank role, and there's a lot of different health values that you can give tanks. I think Groot has the highest of like something ridiculous, like 800. Let me go. Yeah, I think he has like something like 800. 850. Wow, that's insane. All the way down to who has like the least amount of health as tank. I think maybe Cap 675, and Emma has like 650. So I was envisioning Ghost Rider as like and Angela has like 550, so Angela's like the least. So I was envisioning Ghost Rider as having something around like 600, maybe 650 HP as like an off thing. And so for his basic combo, it'd be something like super basic. It could be like punch, punch, and maybe for the third attack, it's like his whip that has like a farther range and will I don't know, maybe it can go through enemies, but kind of like one of those beat 'em up games. I don't know if I'll be able to. Oh, maybe like God of War. You know how his Blades of Chaos goes like through crowds of enemies, like a kind of like a hack and slash. So yeah, punch, punch, and then he like whips his blade or his chain or something like that. Some combination of just like punches and like the chain. I do think it would be cool if his chain was also a special ability in some way. I've thought of like, just like a whip, just a basic whip, just for like some farther range. Maybe it does like 80, 90 damage or something like that. Or you could have kind of like a Roadhog hook, which is pretty simple, just, kind of like Bucky's. But then I don't know how much their NetEase is trying to lean on uniqueness, and I don't know if it would be a problem for them to have two characters with like a similar ability. Ghost Rider having like a Roadhog hook as well as Bucky, but if not, it could just be like the whip with the chain. But I think the Roadhog hook would be super cool. As for like another ability, I would for his shift, I would love if it was just he whistles or something, or he just calls the motorcycle essentially, just to keep it short. He called the motorcycle, and maybe like how Namor ult, when he calls it, it kind of just forms out of thin air. Maybe like the bike can like form out of thin air like 10 feet to the right of him, and like it drives up to him, and he like hops on, and then he could drive around. Like I'm a Ghost Rider fan, so obviously I'm going to overtune him, but I think the bike should be like the fastest moving thing in the game, other than maybe like Spider-Man's ridiculous swing speed. But the draw off or the drawback to that would be something along the lines of like it has like terrible controlling or like turning, so it's good for like running or going in like just forward or something like that, and it has a long turn radius, so you can't just like drive around in a circle around the objective. So yeah, that could be a shift. He gets on his, I'm imagining he can stand it for as long as he wants. I don't really see why it'd be a problem for this. And I would love if he could ride the motorcycle like on walls or like jump through the air. He does that sometimes. It'd be cool. So that could be a shift, and he can just get off it whenever he wants and just burst into flame. As for another ability, I think it would be awesome if like, I don't know how to explain this. He could like draw a path on the ground. It would only be visible to him because it's kind of like useless information for everybody else. He was like, I don't know, maybe draw a path on the ground, and then the bike would appear and ride along that path, and whoever gets like hit by the bike might be like stunned for like half a second. When Jeff shoots his bubble at you and you kind of get like knocked back for like half a second, something like that. So where like if anyone gets hit by the bike, they get like stunned or something like that for like just half a second, and maybe they take like 50, 60, 70 damage, something like that. I'm not gonna be too crazy on like the damage numbers, because that's just balance and stuff like that I don't really feel like getting into, and that's not the point of this video. The point is for his kit itself. So yeah, the shift would be like the bike. Another ability would be a grab. Another ability would be to have the bike just ram through a couple enemies on like a set path, and then at the end of that path it would dissipate. I think on the bike he definitely should not be immune to CC in the same way that the thing is, I think he should definitely be immune to, or should he be immune to CC? I'm not entirely sure. That's another balance thing that isn't really worth it. As far as like tank abilities, as far as like protecting his team, I don't know if any of you guys have ever played Valorant, but there's this guy named is it Phoenix? He controls fire, And so he has this one ability where he can like make a flame wall, and so that wall essentially just what's the word? It stops enemies from being able to see through it, and if they walk through it, they take damage. Um, but you know, you can walk through it, but you can't see through it. So what it's good for is like, I don't know, stopping poke characters from like shooting. So maybe if you're like holding objective, you do the flame wall and stuff like that. Or there's like a pesky widow or a Ella on high ground, you could cut off their line of sight. We don't really have something like that in the game. I think that'd be really cool. I really hope he's got like something regarding damage reduction. Nettie's doesn't really have very much damage reduction aspects in the game. The Thing has it and Jeff hasn't. I think that's about it. Something in regards to the damage reduction. Maybe while he is on the bike, he takes less damage, something like that. Or I actually do have another idea. But yeah, so I think the firewall thing would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, and I think his fifth ability. So yeah, 5 abilities. But you know, the characters that they've come out with recently have had a lot of abilities, been very complex, and so I don't think it's out of Nettie's. It's out of like their like range of what they're allowing characters to do, because even Mantis and characters that were already in the game before all these power creepy DLC characters got here. They were already releasing characters with lots and lots of abilities, so I don't think it's too far off. A lot of people have been saying that Ghost Rider's Ninja Stare should be his ultimate, just because it's his most iconic ability and everyone knows him for it. But when you really stop to think about it, in ultimate, that is just kind of like a guaranteed kill on someone, on just one person, and from what I'm hearing, it can't be like interrupted unless you just like melt his entire health pool before he can finish casting it. So it seems kind of like overpowered and underpowered at the same time. It's hardly interactable, by the way a lot of people describe it, and it's kind of weak because it's an ultimate that can only affect one person. That's why I think his Penance Stare should be his fifth ability on like a, I don't know, let's say 130 or 120 second cooldown, however long Doctor Strange's his portal that cooldown is. I think it's like something like 120 seconds, something like that. And I think it should work like this, something along the lines of whoever he's penance staring, however much damage they've dealt in the last 60 seconds, they'll take. Or you just play with the values or whatever, however much damage they've done since 80% of all the damage they've done in the last three. It really doesn't matter how you divvy it up, but essentially just some way to make it not overpowered, like, oh, all the damage they've done in the game they take, so it's just always an automatic guaranteed kill. But I think it should be something like, this, you can tell this guy's popping off, doing crazy ton of damage, and so you target this guy. If you play your cards right, the Penance Stare will kill. Because there's sometimes and it does even, work the way it does in the comics. Sometimes it just doesn't work on people. So, you choose the wrong person and it doesn't end up working. So I think that's another way to keep it, number one, balanced, and number two, you're it, I guess, to the comics. In the sense that sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, like 100 something second cooldown, however much damage they've done in the last like 60 seconds, something like that. That's my idea for the Penance Stare. As for his, I feel like there's something I'm missing, but I could always just look back at this and edit it later. But as for his passive, because everyone does have a passive, something along the lines of, I imagine maybe like his attacks do like slight fire damage for like half a second or something like that, or whoever he gets like a final hit on, maybe. There's this Reaper from Overwatch. When he first came out, he whoever he killed, they dropped little like soul remnants or whatever, and if he walked over them and picked them up, it would give him health, like extra health so he can heal. I think just whoever he participates in killing should leave like a soul remnant, and whenever he picks up, I don't think it should give him healing. I think it should give him damage reduction for like, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds or something like that per remnant. Maybe per remnant he picks up, it gives like, I don't know, 10 to 15 or something like that. So he could like snowball pretty well, and like he just, that sounds kind of overpowered, but maybe not. I think that could be cool. I do like want more like Hellfire as a part of his kit. So like the reason why he has to like participate in killing them is because he burns them using like Hellfire, and maybe like all of his attacks do like the passive is like anyone who gets by Ghost Rider will take will be affected by Hellfire for the next 30 seconds. If they die within that time, when they die, they'll drop a Soul Remnant, which Ghost Rider can pick up, and each of those Soul Remnants, when he picks them up, will and the each one of them will give him like 15-20% damage reduction for a couple seconds, 10-15 seconds, who knows, something like that. Just so like the more he snowballs, the more he does, like he can just like be stronger and stuff. Like I think that is more on the balance side than to just be like, oh, he just heals himself. Or maybe gets some. No, I like damage reduction more than overshield. Yeah. Yeah. So that, I think it could be his passive. Something in regards to like him like hitting people. Well, I already said it. So I think that can be cool. As for his ultimate, there's a lot that you can do with this character. There's a lot, and I haven't really seen very much I like that really capture Ghost Rider for me. For me, he's just like an aura farmer like all times. If it were up to me, he could only slow walk, but that's stupid. But anyways, oh, and for his primary, I said earlier, but I think there's a second option where, in the same way that some people in this game have like two weapons, like Black Widow and Punisher. And is there anyone else who switches weapons? Not that I could think of off the top of my head, but I know Black Widow and Punisher do. Maybe you can have his like just fists and his arms and legs as his weapons for like one weapon, and as for his other weapon, it's primarily his chain. I don't know why. Maybe the chain is like slower but can reach farther, and his obviously his arms and legs, he attacks faster, but it's like shorter reach. So that could be good in different scenarios. That could be cool. That could be definitely a really cool thing. But as for his ultimate, I really, really haven't seen anything that like people say, oh, maybe he gets on his bike and he like drives over people. He leave like anyone who gets like under his bike, they just take a crazy amount of damage or whatever. But I don't really think, number one, that fits the whole like tank vibe. But granted, a lot of people aren't envisioning him as a tank and the DPS instead. But for what I think his ultimate should be, it could be so many different things. There is a comic book panel I saw one time. I think he was fighting like Blackheart or Lucifer's son or something like that. And he just points like, so he's like, oh, he's like giving his like whole monologue and something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but by the end of his monologue, he points at Lucifer's son. He's like, you're already on the exit ramp. And then like, and Blackheart just looks up in the sky, is like, no. And then it's like storm clouds and stuff like that. And then just from the sky, just a beam of fire comes and he gets transported to hell, I think. Hopefully I can find the image as I'm, just talking about this. I just think it's so cool. But I could be something along the lines of that. Maybe whoever he point, it's like similar to Namor ult, or like he's pointing and like you can like see the circle moving across the ground, and wherever you choose is where like the beam of fire comes down from. Kind of like who is that? Is it Breeze from Valorant? He's got like a orbital laser or something like that. Something similar to him, I think, would be really cool. And maybe it is just whoever just stands in the middle of that just takes a crap ton of damage. It's just a rain of fire for like 8 seconds, similar to Moon Knight. Just a rain of fire for like 8 seconds. Who knows how big the circle could be? Maybe similar to just the circle of Moon Knight and Namor. Maybe just somewhere between those two sizes. Um, and just while you're in it, you just take massive amounts of DPS. Maybe like by the end of it, it does like a grand total of 1,000 damage over the course of 8 seconds. I don't really know what that would look like in game, but that's my general idea. Another thing, and this is getting into very much fantasy land. He could point, and the beam of fire comes down like from the sky and hits someone, and maybe it's like pretty long charge up time, right? The beam of fire comes down from the sky, and whoever it hits gets transported into hell. And Ghost Rider teleports there himself, so it's like no one can help. Like it's completely separated. Um, Maybe in order to balance that out, you could have like some sort of long charge time or something like that. But anyways, whoever gets hit by this beam of fire gets transported to like hell, this like small arena, something like that. And Ghost Rider, transports himself over there to follow them. And within this realm, maybe he just straight up has like 60 or 50 or 60% damage reduction or something like that, or like 50, 60 damage reduction, maybe like 10% movement speed, 10% like extra attack damage. He's just like stronger in hell, and whoever he drags in there is likely gonna die because he doesn't take as much damage, and he's slightly stronger and faster, and he's already like an off tank. And, like you're not gonna win against Thor in a 1v1 most of the time, let alone Ghost Rider with like 30, 40, 50 percent damage reduction, more movement speed, and maybe just like give him flat like more health, maybe like 100 extra health in there as well. Something like that would be cool. But maybe it's not just like the what's it called? A rain of fire coming from the sky. Maybe it's he opens a portal to hell, similar to like Strange Portal, but out from the portal, and this is a lot more interactive, so I think this is more realistic. But out from the portal comes chains, and maybe it randomly targets some people. Maybe you could like get away from the chains, which makes sense because a lot of the ults in this game are interactable, and you can like, you know, they're not always guaranteed. Like you can like deflect Iron Man's ult, you can stun Scarlet Witch out ult, you can block Groot's ult with Mag Shield or anyone's shield really. But anyways, point is, these chains come out. Maybe you could run away from them or something like that. But whoever you or maybe it's kind of like you select three people in the same way that when like Gambit ults, you can see all the people that are going to get targeted by his ult. Maybe when he's like getting ready to do his ult, you can see the three people or something like that who will be targeted by his ult. And so, anyways, when the chains come out, they like target these however many people, and they start kind of like slowly pulling these people into hell. And maybe it takes like 4 to 5 seconds for them to fully be pulled in. You know, like you could like resist, kind of like with Angela's like bands or whatever. That like when you try to like get away, it slows down your movement. And so you know, the more you like move against it, the slightly like longer it'll take. But anyways, it slowly pulls you in, and each of these chains could have something like 500, 600 health, something like that. But if you do get pulled in, it's like the same thing I said earlier. You get taken to hell. I'm trying to like make this like balance because I really want to make Ghost Rider so cool, but yeah, after a couple seconds, if you don't break them, if you don't get away from them or whatever, they pull you through the portal and you're in hell. And so maybe you're overall in hell with Ghost Rider for 15 or 20 seconds. If no one dies, the area just kind of like dissipates and you're in the real world again. I think I keep doing Valorant references. I think someone in Valorant has kind of like a domain expansion type thing for like a 1v1, which I think is really cool. It's like I hope I can find like a clip of it. That's like a good example. But yeah, like I said, within this realm, maybe it dissipates after 20-25 seconds, which is a pretty long time. You could like divvy up the time however you want for game balance, but yeah, within there, Ghost Rider has like just a base of like 50 to 40% damage reduction, as well as maybe like an extra 100 health, or maybe not extra 100 health, maybe just the extra damage reduction, and then the movement speed and like the 10% extra attack power. That'd be cool. And so I really do like the idea of him like taking you somewhere else. Oh, and for his like the third option for his ultimate, he can do something like super simple. Oh, there are two more options. Number one, he could like become like true form Ghost Rider like Zarathos, or like with like the Angel Wings Ghost Rider or something like that. And it's essentially like Dark Child, or you know, like Monster Hulk, something like that, something simple like that. That could be and all his abilities get like just like better version of his abilities, similar to like Dark Child, something like that. Um, that could be an option, or he could grow giant. He's done that before. Like there's a lot of options you can do with and while while he's giant, maybe he's got like 50% damage reduction or like 60% damage reduction, because he'll be so big, he'll be like a really large target. So if he had like 600 health, he's just mincemeat. But yeah, maybe he can grow giant, maybe like the size of like 3 to 4 Hulks or something like that tall. Maybe smaller, bigger, but you guys get the idea. So those are my ideas for what the Ghost Rider's like ultimates could be. Um, and I think that should just about do it. Is there anything I'm missing? Maybe like for 6 abilities. Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe we'll give him 6 abilities. Maybe for one of his abilities, he just tosses out just a fireball, and that's how he can like just one of the other ways he can just like hit people with his Hellfire for his passive. Um, and so I don't know, maybe just getting hit with the fireball, the total damage, whether it be like a 20% impact plus like um 20 damage over time for like burns from like the fire. Maybe like it just does a grand total of 40 damage or 50 damage, however, like whatever you think is fair for game balance. Just a basic fireball. That's an option. Um, but yeah, I think that just about does it for everything I can think of. I really feel like, am I missing something? I don't think so. I already get one over his health and all that stuff. Ultimate abilities is basic combo. Maybe he has 2 different weapons. Um, oh, team ups, team ups. Okay, so team ups. I saw a really, really good idea for one of his team ups would be like Lords of Hell. So Johnny Blaze at one point was King of Hell after he like dethroned Mephisto and stuff like that. Ella's the Queen of HEL with 1 L, and Magic is the Queen of Limbo. So maybe the 3 of them could have some team up together. I'm not entirely too sure. Maybe Magic and Hela, whoever, like they can like activate a little bit of Hellfire on themselves. And I don't know, maybe it lasts like 5-10 seconds. So whoever they kill with like after inflicting Hellfire, they drop Hellfire orbs for maybe them and Ghost Rider to pick up. That gives them extra damage reduction. That'd be cool. Maybe just one or the other, whoever gets to it first, essentially. Yeah, so that could be cool. Whoever like Hela and Hela and Magic can activate some Hellfire, maybe like on her like on both of their blades or something like that. Just whoever they kill, like I said, drops the Soul Remnant that's been like purified by like the Hellfire from Ghost Rider. That could be a cool thing. And then there's maybe like Wolverine. He's already got something similar with Phoenix, but there was this one time where he what's the word? He lit Wolverine's claws on fire, and that allowed him to perform an exorcism or something like that. That would be cool. Just gives the same thing with between him and Magic, um, and Hela, and whoever Wolverine kills drops the purified soul remnant for Ghost Rider or them to get some extra damage reduction. I feel like there's something like really creative you can do between like Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange. Some type of I can't speak. Some sort of magic stuff between, because those two do interact a couple times in the comics. Who else could Ghost Rider get like a team up with? Maybe I'm really having trouble thinking, but you guys can get the point. And he could be like the anchor bonus. His anchor bonus maybe hits. I really want damage reduction in this game, so I'm going to keep harping on that. Maybe for the anchor bonus, he gets 5% damage reduction. Maybe I'm making him entirely too tanky, but he is my favorite, and so I'm gonna do that. It's my video, but yeah. As far as like team up with someone else where he gets a different ability, let me look at the roster real quick, and I'll just cut in until I get an idea. Maybe you could have like Cloak and like a team up with like Cloak and Dagger, where they like where like Dagger gives him like the life force or whatever, and that turns his like fire blue, and maybe like because they already did this with what's it called, Black Widow. Maybe his fire turns blue, and he can like just activate it and deactivate it. I don't really know. Maybe you give that a cooldown, or maybe not. Who knows? But while his fire is blue, maybe he could like his allies, or like give his allies like overshield. I'm trying to stay away from healing as much as possible, because I think I think Penny's change where she gives her allies healing is a mistake. I think Nettie's just really forgetting to incorporate damage reduction into the game. So I'm really trying to stay away from that. I think there's entirely just too much healing in the game. I think you could just be really a lot more creative. But yeah, so anyone he like hits with his blue fire, they get like overshield or something like that. That'd be cool. That could be a really good team up, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, I think that's it for my like ideas for Ghost Rider's kit. As for his cosmetics, I can think of a couple just off the top of my head instantly. There's Cosmic Ghost Rider, where he's like the Herald of Galactus. He's super cool. He's kind of like, the only thing I don't like about that version of Ghost Rider is like fishbowl helmet thing going on, but I do like his design. I do love the art style they portray that Ghost Rider with. He's like so amazing. As Frank Castle, Ghost Rider, and it's just one of the most good looking costumes Ghost Rider's ever had. So that could be a thing. Cosmic Ghost Rider. Then you could like, this could easily just be a cosmetic or team up, but the Blue Flame Ghost Rider could just be one of his basic like everyone in the game has like just these like recolors, like their basic like skin that comes when they drop. You could have that. So just Blue Fire Ghost Rider could instead just be like a cosmetic. Then you could have King of Hell Ghost Rider as a skin. He's got like these huge horns. I think he's got like a really cool design there. Angel Ghost Rider could also be a cosmetic. It could, like I said, be a cosmetic, or could be part of that ultimate I was saying earlier. That could be cool. Any other skins I could think of? The Ghost Rider, the King of, or Cosmic Ghost Rider, King of Hell, and Angel Ghost Rider. Not anything else I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, that Western old man Ghost Rider from like the first Ghost Rider movie, who instead of like, maybe like he could be as like legendary, and where instead of like a bike, he just summons like that flaming horse. That could be amazing. Old man, like that old man Ghost Rider. I don't know his name, I forget. But I think that would be like maybe even like the best legendary skin in the game. It'd be amazing. Yeah, I think those are some pretty good um ideas for Ghost Rider, and maybe I made him too overpowered. Maybe he's too underpowered. I'm not entirely too sure. I'm not part of game balance. If I were to think anything, I think I might have went a bit overboard in making him strong, but you know, I like the character. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Um, I wanted to make this because I really do feel like he's going to be coming soon. Pretty sure a while ago they asked like the community in their Discord, Marvel Rivals. I think Marvel Rivals asked the community in their Discord a long time ago. Um, who do you want to see like coming soon? And I think Gambit was listed, Deadpool was listed, and a couple of these other characters were listed. And people voted, and Ghost Rider was at the just top of the list. I don't know if that was the actual Marvel Rivals like Nettie's account thing. I think it was, but I could be wrong. It was such a long time ago. It could just be some, some fan Marvel Rivals Discord page or Discord, server, and they voted. But I'm almost like you guys will see when I post this video. I'll edit this, and there was a vote, and Ghost Rider got like the most votes. So I think he could be coming extremely soon. We've had like I was really sad when Marvel Rivals first came out and people were leaking all these heroes. It was like, oh, these are all the guys who are gonna be coming in the next year, and it was so like I don't like the X-Men. I'm gonna be completely honest. It was X-Men, and it was all these characters that I just had no like the Fantastic. I just all these characters I had no interest in. And I was like, Ghost Rider's not gonna be coming for a while, dude. And yeah, it's been an entire year, and it sucks, but he's not here. But I really do feel like he's got the potential to be coming soon, especially after the next season. I forget who she is, but I know it's like we know it's Deadpool, I think, and I forget the other lady. Um, she's like this like monster hunter or something like that. I've heard of her, and I think she'll be pretty cool to see. But I really do feel like after season 6, we have a very real potential of seeing Ghost Rider soon, as long as there's no like laws for Nettie's like complicating his coming to Marvel Rivals. But yeah, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like Ghost Rider as much as I do. I hope you guys, if you guys like this video, do give it like a like and subscribe and all that stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.